You are now listening to the ERT Podcast with your hosts, Biff and Surveillance. I am the producer, Chris. Enjoy your ride. Warning, this episode may contain explicit language. Listen at your own risk.
Welcome to another edition of the ERT Podcast, coming at you like red and blue backyard in Mason, Ohio. It's your boy Biff, and as always, I am joined by the Hall to my Nash, the Coy to my Vance, the red to my blue. It is the one and only evil detective, Surveillance.
Biff, he's not here for this episode.
What? I gave him that killer intro, made him red and everything. He's not even here to hear that. Are you serious right now?
We're serious. He might show up in a little bit, but we don't know.
And I'm not supposed to cuss this episode. He's going to make me cuss right now. And as you can see, the glue that holds us all together, the maestro of this, the spoiler himself, Triple C, Coaster Conquest, Chris.
Hey, the Guardians made the playoffs. How about that?
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, it is a special edition because tonight's guest is the hockey puck flying, racer riding, hoo-day yelling, big red machine loving, theme parks by Don Helbig, tower topic talking, Bucky shirt wearing, wheeling and dealing, son of a gun. Woo! It is the one and only, the GOAT, Don Helbig.
Quite the intro there. Quite the intro. Appreciate it. A lot of energy. I like the energy.
That was a good one. I dig it.
Thank you.
Sorry,
like I said before, I quit everything to pro wrestling, and for me, you are the Ric Flair of the coaster community, man.
All right, that's the first time I've been referenced that way, but I'll take it.
You get it, right? You get it.
Yeah, anytime you can be associated with Ric Flair, it's a good thing.
I would agree. Sorry, I had to keep watching over here this whole time because I've been watching the Guardians game, and if they won, then they're in, and they won, so I'm excited.
Okay, could you produce the show now, please?
Possibly, that might happen.
And to the point where we're supposed to say we'd like to thank our prestige members, Miss Mandy, 185, Darren Jackson, 287. Oh, wait, wrong show. Shout out to Ryan and Tower Topics.
Yeah, that's a Ryan thing right there. Exactly.
It's good stuff. So how you been, Don?
I've been doing good. Summer flew by very quick, and, here we are. We're already, about almost midway through the fall season with all the different Halloween events and that, and it'll be the Christmas season before we know it. But it's just been an incredibly fast-flying year for me.
I agree. I feel like summer was here and then gone.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and I think, some of that, too, is, just the way some of the park calendars are these days where they're opening later in the spring, they're closing, earlier in the summer, and you get to be around August 10th, and a lot of parks aren't even open during the week anymore, and I think that just makes it go by that much faster.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of makes me sad a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
What parks have you been going to the most this year, Don? Besides Kings Island, of course.
Well, besides Kings Island, it's not much of a difference between Kings Island and some other parks, but Holiday World, I've got 10 visits in there. I've got 5 visits into Dollywood. I have 2 to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, 2 to Kings Dominion. I've been to Camden Park. So, I'm sure I'm missing 1 or 2 out there right now at the top of my head, but between them all, I've got 39 visits in between all the different parks that I've been to this year.
All right.
Not what I, not the Don pace of the 1980s and that, where I was, between all the parks getting over 100 visits, but still a lot of visits in, and I'm enjoying the parks in a different way than I used to do. I mean, before it was, all about getting the coaster credits and how many rides could I get on everything, and now it's more of a relaxed type of a thing. I try to enjoy everything the parks have to offer. Busch Gardens, for instance, going there in the spring, and they had their food and wine festival, a lot of different foods to try. That was a different way to experience that park, so I really enjoyed that. Um, just all the different events that the parks do. I try to take part in that now and watch the live shows. The different seasonal events. Kings Island, I thought they really stepped it up this year with their food and wine that they did. The first year I wasn't that impressed with it. It was kind of just parked in that corner, the Tower Gardens. Wasn't that immersive, so they expanded that a little bit this year. I thought, that was really well done for year two. So I'm just trying to see the parks too in a different way. And I had my first grandchild in January.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so it's been fun taking her to a couple of the different parks. Her first theme park ride was the train at Holiday World. So that was a big deal for me to see her get on a ride. But she seems to like the atmosphere. So she's going to be 9 months old here in a couple of weeks, and but that's another way to see the park too. When you have kids and grandkids, and
absolutely,
you just see it in a different way than you do when you're young, you're single, and you can kind of come and go as you please and do whatever you want. But it's been fun.
It's definitely a different angle, especially when you get like you said with the granddaughter. I'm having the same effect now. And just some of the stuff we do with her, like we rode the train with her at Dollywood, and it really makes me see when I go with the kids Double J, and it makes me look at the parks differently when you look at it from like a family's point of view. Like, all right, I'm here to ride not only for me, but let's see what I can get Double J on. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, when we had her at her name's Melody. When we took her to Dollywood in March, she was only just a little bit over 2 months old. So we thought the train there with the noise level on that might be a little bit too much for the year.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we didn't want to try that. But by the time we got to Holiday World with her, it was in July. She was very alert about everything, the colors around the park, the different vibrant different logos and stuff that they have with the rides. She was kind of drawn to that. So it was fun, and we're going to go back in a couple of weeks again, and there's a ride or two there that she can now get in and ride by herself. And the Tibby canoe ride is one of those that she can now sit up and do that. So that's going to be fun to see it that way too.
That's a great ride for kids, man. That's really good.
Yeah, now she's gotten to the point she's starting to eat some foods and that, and liking the taste of things. So it'll be fun to get some of the meals at the different parks, and we'll see if she likes a pub burger during Winterfest.
Nice. That's awesome. It's always good to hear those stories and like kind of see how family members that are younger in age like that grow up and start liking rides like their family does.
Right. But yeah, you just see it in a different way, and it started to evolve that way when I had my daughter, in the mid 90s, and, watching her grow and seeing the things she was interested in at the parks. So it just really changes what you do. And then you realize it really doesn't matter if it's a giga or not, as long as it's a fun ride and the family enjoys doing it together, so it puts everything in a different perspective.
I agree.
Now that you see the parks differently, like you said, are you more into the shows and seeing some shows? And what would be a good park, in your opinion, for someone that was a non-rider to go to?
You're a non-rider for shows, I would say Dollywood, is going to be the best park for that. And at the different times of the year, I mean, right now, if you go during the Harvest Festival, they've got over like 700 performances that's going to take place over the next few weeks. And they bring in different acts. So that would be one that it's really good. Holiday World has a lot of fun shows, very family-oriented shows. Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, was impressive with the show lineup. So those are the three parks that come to mind most for me when I'm thinking about shows.
I agree. I got to pick your brain. What do you think about their ride coming next year?
Oh, at Dollywood?
Yeah.
It's a game changer. The amount of storytelling that's going to do, I mean, it fits right in with the story of Wildwood Grove. It's something that, it's got a pretty broad range of guests that can ride it. So that's going to be important. A lot of families can do that together. It's going to be weather resistant because it's indoors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that they'll be able to, whether you go spring, summer, fall, during the Christmas season, it can be really cold and everything. That ride's going to be able to go. But it's just massive. The size of 4 football fields. I was on a construction tour there recently, and you see it from the train, but it's a lot different when you're not on the train and you're in that area where it's all being built, and we're standing on the dirt and the gravel, and to know that next year will be water, when that ride opens, how it's going to be all themed out and everything, but very immersive, game changer, really sets the bar high, not only for Dollywood and what they will do in the future, but other parks when they're putting in attractions, it's going to be compared to what they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like that golden ticket might just have to stay there at Dollywood. I mean, it just seems like it's not going to go anywhere else for the kids.
No, as soon as I saw the announcement, I was like, okay, you can, pretty much lock in the best kids area as long as they have that award, with this. But there's other good kids areas out there too. I mean, let's give some parks the credit, where it's due. I think the kids area at Carowinds is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that it's amazing how good that one is and how few people talk about it.
Right.
So I think that one, there's Dollywood, then I would go Carowinds would be, to me, the number 2 kids area. So there's a lot to like about that one.
Yeah, I agree. Now, on this, sorry, Biff, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, on this new ride for Dollywood, are you going to get wet on that? I can't understand if you're going to, is there going to be a splash or anything like that?
It'll be almost, to me, it'll be something like Diamondback where, you might get a little bit of water on you. I don't think you're not going to come off the ride drenched.
Okay.
It doesn't look like it. I mean, there are some splashes. Water's going to come in the boat a little bit, it looks like. But I don't think it's something where you're going to come off and you just rode Whitewater Canyon. It's not going to be anything like that. But what I like about it too, it's 4 different types of experiences too. So there's a lot to like about that. It's going to be long. Almost 6 minutes long or something. So I'm looking forward to it.
Same here. All right, Biff, what were you going to ask?
I was just commenting on the kids area, Carowinds.
Yeah, that's a good one,
Yeah.
especially with the new additions.
And that's
big
one of
playground. They've got 3 coasters over there the kids can ride. I think they put a new one in, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's one I just wish more people would talk about it, because it's everything about it, it's amazing, and it just doesn't get the attention that it deserves. So for me, of all the Six Flags kids areas, it's for sure the best one out there. King's Dominion is another one that has a really good kids area. It's been in the number 4, number 5 in the golden tickets in recent years, but that's another one that is pushing toward the top. They're not as good as Dollywood's and what that has to offer, but at the same time, being the second best in the world, third best in the world, that's not a bad spot to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Don, what have you been up to lately other than traveling to parks? Any other fun things?
I'm involved for the 21st season with the Cincinnati Bengals, game day PR staff, transcribing post-game quotes. So started in training camp, with the preseason and that with them. I've had the one game so far. So just, following everything that they're doing. If they're on the road, I'll, watch the games, very closely on TV, going, some Reds games. That's been something I didn't get to do as much this year as I had done in previous years. Normally I was around anywhere from 35 to 42 games a year. So it wasn't anything close to that this year. We mentioned traveling to the different parks, keeping busy with Theme Parks by Don, my website, publishing a lot of content there. I just published my 115th piece just for 2025 so far. In just over 2 years, it's over, I think, 330 total pieces of content that I've published, but and when I try to do that, I don't want to replicate what other people are doing. So if a park puts out a press release. A lot of times you'll see the copy and paste, and that's what somebody's popping in on their blog, or their news media will pretty much take the press release, and they might get a quote or two and pop it in different. I try to sit back, and I don't want to be first with it. I don't need to be first. What I try to do is take a little bit of a different approach and try to see it from what the park's trying to do with it, the story they're trying to tell with that, my own personal feel about what they're doing and how it fits and everything, and then how the audience what that's going to read the story, what they're going to be interested in. So I try to paint a different picture than what other people are putting out there. So if you look at what Six Flags Over Texas just announced, if you go to my blog, Theme Parks by Don, and you read that article, everybody else is focusing on it being in a giga and the first drop, and the statistics of the ride. I touch on the statistics, but I also talk about how Six Flags Over Texas is just really that whole new area that they're doing with this. And I talk about the restaurant and just how it all comes into play, how it all ties into Spain and all that, with that theming in it. So I try to paint a little bit of a different picture. So mine's more, I try to take more of a storytelling approach than, I would say, focusing on what the coaster enthusiasts, coaster fans are all about, wanting the statistics, what records does it set, how fast does it go, when's it going to open. I'm trying to sit back and, okay, I'll take a few days, look at it, and here's the story to me that ride tells.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do check it out, and so you make some good content, so I enjoy reading it.
I appreciate that. And like I said, it's kind of interesting because I've got I can take a different point of view with it because I have that experience years as a visitor to the parks long before I ever started working at theme parks at Kings Island. I spent 17 years working there, so I have it from the inside perspective too, and then now back on the other side again. This time, not as really a coaster enthusiast, not as somebody that was formerly, in the industry, but now more as a journalist, and how would I write the story if I was writing it for USA Today or somebody like that. So it's kind of, I would say it's the third chapter of my involvement with the theme park industry. So, I'm still a guest, but now, covering it more as a journalist than, like I said, going and trying to rack up as many rides as I can.
Yeah.
Always evolving, continue to evolve. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, try to.
All right, so I can't let, with you on the episode, I can't let this go by because we know that my love for Phantom Theater.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy that it's coming back. So I gotta.
Here we go. Phantom Theater.
I gotta pick your brain and see what you think about the idea of it coming back.
Very excited about it. I knew that Maestro and the gang would be coming back in some fashion. I didn't know exactly what it would be. I didn't want to know exactly what it would be. And the same thing with Dollywood's, right? I'm someone that I don't like to know what my Christmas presents are before Christmas morning.
Right.
A lot of times, so I want to unwrap the gift, at the time of as it's being announced and that. So, just past knowing that Maestro was coming back, very excited about it. I think they'll do a really good job with it. I think it'll be better than the original. Sometimes the longer something is gone, the better it is in people's minds. The better it was. Phantom Theater was really good, the first run of it. But I think what they're going to do with this, I think it's going to really surprise people. I think they'll be very pleased with what the ride experience is with it. And I think it's something that, you're going to want to do multiple times. So, Sally Dark rides, they've come a long way, in the past few years in that. And I'm excited about what they're going to be able to do. And then you bring these characters back that were beloved by Kings Island fans, and you add a couple of new wrinkles to it. There'll be a couple new characters introduced. And I think it, not only the ride, but I think it lends itself to a lot of, really cool merchandising ideas.
Yeah. So I would think that the successful show may have kind of pushed the park into thinking about adding something again.
Well, it didn't hurt. Let's put it that way. I know that when the show was going on during the 50th anniversary, it was part of the conversation that we would have after we would see the capacity crowds watching the show, people coming back, growing, its followers and that for the show as the season progressed. And we knew that there would be interest if that ride could be relaunched some way. And there were some very talented people on the creative team with, at that time, Cedar Fair. They had ideas on what this could be. And, so we knew that that was something that guests would be, very open to. And it was also no secret that Boo Blasters was kind of getting near the end. A lot of times with those dark rides, 10 years is enough, and it's time to swap it out for something else. This one was approaching 15 years, which it was this year, and it was time. And I don't think they could have come up with a better replacement for it.
So I saw some pictures floating around that they removed all the vehicles. Does that mean that we're getting something new in there?
I don't think it necessarily means that. The vehicles had come out before for off-season maintenance and that, or when they would do some of the work on the, the system and everything. So that was nothing new to have the vehicles come out. I know they're going to get some kind of they're going to have a little bit of a different look to them, whether that's some kind of wrapping or whatever they do on them. So that wasn't a surprise that those came out. I wouldn't look into it like they're all going to be brand new vehicles. I wouldn't. It'd be great if they are, but if it's not, I think it was just something you have to do what you need to do to freshen those up.
Right. Now, when they went from Phantom Theater to Scooby, they took half the trains off of it? Or half the parts?
every other one. Every other one. And I think that had to be done because when you have something that was interactive like that, when they were too close together, the capacity was better. But a lot of times when you're trying to shoot at the targets and that, it takes a few seconds for those to come back up, and then the vehicle right behind you has nothing to shoot at.
Right. That makes sense.
So that was something you needed to have a little bit of space in there to make the experience a little bit better.
Yeah.
So was it a shooting game when it was Scooby-Doo?
I don't know. Not when it was Scooby-Doo. With Boo Blasters, though, it was, and that's when you had to kind of do that with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I think everybody knows that, though.
Oh yeah. Well, you were one of the people I thought of when it was back in July, early July, when I was like, okay, Maestro's coming back. Chris is going to be excited about this.
Yep. I mean, I got in trouble by the Coaster Hate Crew leader here, Biff, because I wore my new shirt, but I haven't gotten to ride the ride yet.
You cannot wear the merch if you have not ridden the ride. That is
I agree with you. Yes, you must. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to wear the merchandise if you have not been on it, right?
Yeah, and I normally wouldn't, but I asked for a pass this one time just because it was this specific ride and how important it was for me.
Yeah, you could wear the old stuff, that was out there.
That's what we said. Well, I rode the old ride. Yeah, but that's for the new ride.
yeah, but you want to wait until like opening, weekend, get your first rides in on it, and then you're real excited about it. And then you go shop, and then everything else looks even that much better that you want to buy. And you end up buying 3 or more things than you would have bought if you wait until your first ride on it.
Yeah.
So it works for the park that way too if you wait.
It's true. And I know that whenever they announce that opening day, I'm gonna be camped out there so I can try to be on the first public train.
What kind of pass do you have? What level of pass?
I am a prestige.
If it's me and I'm Six Flags, I try to add more value to being a prestige pass holder, and I would make the first rides for prestige only.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what I do. That's just me, because I think that there should be more value that's added in, because there's really nothing outside. You get the park a little closer sometimes, really separating between gold and prestige. Sure, you get the fast lane and that, but single-use fast lane. But I just think it would add more value. You're paying more money. You should get the better opportunity. So I think they should have a night, or even on pass holder day, or even a day before. Like say the pass holder day is always on a Friday, maybe Thursday, it's open only for prestige pass holders, and they get to come and ride it. So I think something like that you see that at other parks. You see
That's what Busch Gardens did for Big Bad Wolf. We were down there for the preview weekend, and me and the Bee are platinum members. So for platinum members, they got to ride it the night before. I remember that's how we got our rides in the night before.
Yeah, so I think there needs to be something like that. I was thinking Busch Gardens, how they had done things like that. I know that there's some opportunities with Dollywood, when you have the highest, the Diamond Pass and all that you get some opportunities before other people.
Yep.
And I think that would add to it. I thought when Adventure Port was opening, that Prestige should have got the first opportunity on Soul Spin and Cargo Loco. But that didn't happen, so those are the kind of things I tried to push for. I'd recommend, but I just think there needs to be more value. And I think here's an opportunity with this, this new attraction with Phantom Theater opening Nightmare, that they can show the Prestige pass holders you made a good decision to upgrade to that pass because you get to do this first.
And I think that's a great idea for real.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I mean, it's hard for us here with like me and my wife because she doesn't go as often, so she's a gold pass holder, and like when we go together, I can get my one fast lane, but she doesn't get one. So it's kind of I don't use it most of the time because we're together.
Right. I upgraded this year to Prestige just because the price point. Why not?
Yeah.
It just made sense to do that, and because of the single-use fast lane, I thought that was a good value there for it. And the parking didn't matter to me. The way Kings Island's laid out.
Yeah.
It's basically the difference of just crossing the street. Going from your mailbox to the neighbors across the street. Difference where you can park without having to be in that lot. So I don't think it's a big deal that I don't get to park in that lot. But other than that, though, I mean, I thought. I was just excited with what they announced, and I thought they did a nice thing, letting people know that was going to happen, that the ride was going to close. I do know that wasn't something that everybody was on board with doing, that there was let's just say it's down for maintenance. Let's announce the new attraction later. But I'm glad that is not the way it played out, and guests got a chance to knowingly get in their last rides on it.
Yeah.
Did they have merch for Boot Blasters towards the end of the season there?
I didn't see any if there was.
Me neither.
Didn't do a lot of shopping, toward the end of August, and Labor Day weekend, but I've not seen anybody wearing any.
Yeah, me neither. Interesting. I was going to say something, but I forgot because I thought of that. What was I going to say? Oh, I hope we get some construction content from the park, but not enough to give anything away from the scenes.
I agree. I think that would be good to show. They did that one teaser post where they showed the heads and that.
Yeah.
But I think it would be kind of cool to show them tearing things out.
Yeah.
What they're doing right now, and just kind of show that progress a little bit, at least once a week. Put a little bit out there. Like I said, don't show the whole thing with what's happening, but just kind of give an update that, we're at the point now we've taken out all of, all the characters are gone. And the next thing, all the targets are gone. And just keep everybody updated.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we get some sort of callback to the boiler scene with How About Some Heat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was one of the, the signature scenes. So hopefully something like that. I think from what I've been told, there are nods, to the original, but it will feel like a brand new experience for you.
Hey, they can bring that boiler right out of Slaughterhouse still.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, that's enough Phantom Theater talk. I'm good.
Oh man, keep going, man. Yeah, that was great. You're doing great. Why would they show progress of what's going on? It's Kings Island. They're not gonna do nothing like that. They barely tell you when anything's going on. Look here, I bought this Prestige pass, right? And it says that you get 2 free Bring a Friends. I can't find it nowhere. I'm in the app. I'm looking in my purse. No free Bring a Friends. So how do I access those 2 free Bring a Friends I allegedly have as a Prestige pass holder?
It is frustrating because there was a lot of things that the clarity isn't there. That used to be there with the parks. They got to work on that. Um, I don't think when you look at rides like River Racers, they did, and Snoopy Soapbox Racers, there was the periodic, little update. It would just be one little short paragraph that they would put on the blog or on a social post. It wasn't really anything that was to the degree that you saw with a Diamondback, a Banshee, a Mystic Timbers. Even when they were building Tropical Plunge, there was something every week that just kind of showed progress in that. So, but your fans want to know what's going on. They're interested. They're curious, and
We
it
got to
helps.
you got to look at who's doing what, because I feel like obviously when somebody cares about the park a lot like you did, there's going to be that kind of stuff. That is those kind of updates. But now it's
Right.
just with this whole corporate thing, there's nobody that's just at this park strictly for this park, like doing these things.
No, nobody. Yeah, there's not the boots on the ground thinking about it that way. For example, they have at Haunt on the top of the hour, they have the show on International Street with the fountain. With all the different things going off, the pyro and all that. Very impressive looking. Seen lots of video of it. The park has said nothing about this. So we're 2 weekends into Haunt. It's not on the web. Yeah, it's not on the website. It's not on the app. Right? Yeah, it's not on anything. So I think that's something that guests would like to know. They've been at Haunt all night. They get home and they see somebody put a video. I didn't even know anything about that. You've seen those kind of posts. So they've got to get better at that. At least on the put it down as a show, top of the hour. Let people know International Street's the place to be. Put that out on social media, and that and then after they see everybody's been talking about it for 2-3 weeks, then they'll do it. But then you're down to the final 2 weekends or something before that even gets out there. So you're right. You need to let people know, with your situation, it'd be nice to know how to redeem those bring a friend tickets. But everything's a sales message now. It seems like, everything was, River Racers now buy a silver pass. How about, showing the experience and everything, then you'll sell your silver passes because people get drawn in, with showcasing the experience. Same thing with Haunt, show the experience, then come back with buy your season pass stuff later. I don't even think you have to mention season pass. If you do things that makes people want to visit,
Right.
you sell more passes that way. I sold more season passes for Kings Island. The years I did the social media was just by showing the Beast, showing Banshees, showing Mystic Timbers, and just talking about those kind of things and how much fun you can have, rekindling those memories and stuff for people. Somebody sees a video of the Beast, and it might only be 30 seconds, and just something that just says a little quick, snippet about it or something. And they say, whether it's their spouse or, a friend or something, like, hey, we haven't been to Kings Island for a while. We should go. Well, now they're going to the website. Now they're buying the product. It's a lot easier to sell product if you get them excited about the experience first. That's always been my philosophy with it.
Another thing I think about is how interactive these parks are with people. It used to be when I first started running around and going to different parks, the interaction between the parks and some of the people that would tweet about the parks or post about the park, it was great. Now anybody hardly interacts with you anymore. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, you don't see too many people out there.
It's got more of a corporate stale feel to it now.
Yeah. I have to say this for the Bring a Friends. We tried to do that this year. I thought it was just on my pass, like it was in the past, where you just scan your season pass and it was on there. But then I went to go scan my pass. They said, "Oh, you got to go to ticket booths up front." I'm like, "Really?" So you have to go there, get to printed off pieces of receipt to get your Bring a Friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you.
On the other hand, with the park updates, like I love when I get these, even the smallest, like this is what, in the off season updates, like I think a few years ago, like Dodge 'em got a new sign, like that kind of updates throughout the off season is what keeps me like engaged and like, oh, this is awesome. I want to go see these updates in person, the next season.
Yeah, and those were fun things for me to put out there when Dodge 'em did get an update like that, or the Racer brought back the original, look of the front of the trains.
Yeah.
Was being painted red, white, and blue again. So the little things like that, it gets people excited, and they can't wait to get there on opening day. And you don't have to be pushing out the sales messages all the time because they're going to be so excited they'll renew their passes and buy the tickets. That all takes care of itself.
Yeah, it seems like everything nowadays is, hey, look, we're building Phantom Theater this year, but also don't forget to buy your pass. Like every post is about that, and not just
every post is a sales message. Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It becomes white noise
See the
after a while.
shows, top that you like with the new premium pass.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Scott, do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think that not having, I still call it the Paramount Theater. That's how I'm just dating myself there. Do you think not having the Paramount Theater open with a really good Halloween show is hurting King Island at all?
I think it's a missed opportunity. I think that, it's the perfect building for something, in there that's Halloween themed. Remember when they had the Ed Alonzo show was in there? So I would use that. I think it's a missed opportunity when you don't take advantage of the theaters that you have during the Halloween season.
Have you seen the Jack the Ripper show at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg?
I've not seen it personally, but I have seen, different photos and short clips of it.
It's amazing. If they could put something like that in the Paramount Theater, oh man.
Yeah,
People
you do
would
need
come
that
see it
indoor,
like they would.
especially when it gets a little cooler toward the end of October. Nat, anytime you can put some more things indoors, I think that helps.
Absolutely.
Is there a show in there normally for Winterfest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Tinker's, but it's not going to be there this year, is it? Didn't they say they weren't doing it this year?
It'll be a new show. I mean, it'll probably still have the character. I'm still hearing that Tinker will still be involved, but it won't be that exact storyline that we've seen before.
So kind of a sequel or newer.
New storyline is what I would say that you'll see in there.
Okay, well that's good. I mean, I think Parks should balance themselves out with really good shows. Like if you got some of your rides shut down or you're not offering the whole park, your show should be kick ass. You know what I'm saying? Like when people leave and go, wow, I'd like to come see that again.
Yeah, and it's added value for guests too, because not everyone wants to go through the mazes. Not everyone's a ride person. So what else is there for them to really do on a hot night? So the more entertainment you can have, the better it's going to be.
Do you feel like Kings Island needs some more entertainment or shows for their haunt?
I do. I think at least one more in that theater.
Yeah, I haven't been yet for Haunt this year. I'll be going a couple of times in October, but everything I keep seeing is like the park is not very busy, or at least the Haunt lines are not. The scare zones or whatever, or the mazes. I don't know what your thoughts are on them charging for. It seems like that might be like somewhat of a deterrent.
I knew that would be one of the first things that would get implemented after the merger, because that is something that the legacy Six Flags parks had done for a long time, and I knew they weren't going to leave that revenue on the table, so I knew it was coming. I think it can, if it can make the experience better when it's an upcharge, because there's going to be fewer people in line. Your wait time is going to be more minimal, but it depends on what they do in the mazes or the houses, whatever word you want to use for those. Yeah. If it's the same old thing that they've been running out there year after year that was free, came with your park admission, then you're not going to have very many people happy about that. But if you invest in, good reviews so far on The Conjuring, and the other new maze that they have, Order of the Dragon, is getting really, really good reviews. If things are done at that level, and every year one of the old mazes, gets retired and is redone to that kind of a level, and then eventually 3 or 4 years from now they're all at that kind of level, then I think there's value, and the park could kind of say there's a reason why we're charging for that. But the way it is right now, from what I'm hearing, is the other Gilmart, Slaughterhouse, Hotel St. Michelle, Those are, the same mazes that you've gone through the last few years, that nothing's really changed. They might have put a couple of new, props in there, but other than that, it's the same thing, and still an issue with not enough scare actors. So you have to upgrade that too. That has to come with it. If you're going to be charging the guests, you have to kind of elevate the experience across the board. You just can't say, I put all your eggs in these, 2 new mazes, and then the other ones are all the same. You got to work on all of them.
Yeah. I will say I went for, which is surprising, my first time ever going to Haunt was in 2021 or 2022. I think the first time they brought it back after COVID. And it was amazing. There was tons of scare actors in the scare zones, just in the midways and whatnot. But then ever since then, it just keeps seeming like less and less scare actors and scare zones and things like that. So hopefully they can get back to that. I don't know why it keeps going down, but yeah, I'll have to see for this year.
I totally agree with you. Haunt 2021 was when we went, and then we decided, hey, look, we're going to buy a pass, and next year we're going to hit all the parks. But Haunt 2021 was the one that hooked us in and made us go, okay, we're going to start traveling and doing this.
I mean, the fog was everywhere. I mean, it was one of the creepiest, best experiences I've had, and I was like, this is amazing. I always want to go to Haunt from now on. So.
And every year it's gotten a little bit worse, Except for, I will say this, I was really impressed last year. We only went one time last year. It was kind of out of spite, with the Alien Haunted House over in Area 72.
Yep, that was a nice one. I've had mixed reviews on that this year from what I'm seeing.
See, mine was always.
The first year they changed it, they had one similar to it at SeaWorld that was really good, and it gave me the same vibes.
Yeah.
I really dug the new Cornstalkers out there behind Congo Falls. At least it really got my wife one time with the bungee cord guy that jumps out. I mean, I like all the houses. I liked Hotel St. Michel its first season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when it's the same thing and you go every year, you know everything that's going to happen. So they got to start mixing some things up.
And they got to change it up, or change the houses up, or do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was this 3 years in a row, and then come back next year, it's going to be this. But people just think they can do that. But I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that, like behind the scenes, like cost for one. You know what I'm saying? Is the juice going to be worth the squeeze? Am I right or wrong about that?
I think you're right.
And I know not every park has the kind of funds that Universal does, how they have new houses every single year, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, but that's Universal. It's one of the largest companies in the world. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said nobody has, not all the parks have that kind of money to back them up. So
they got so much money, they should pay you to come to the park. Like, come to Universal. They just stand out front with a money gun, just shoot money at you when you come into the park. That's how much money they got. And they still make a profit.
Speaking of Universal, it's kind of been fun watching them tear down Rip Ride Rocket.
Yeah, that's been a fun process.
I'm excited. I guess whatever's coming should be really interesting.
Is it an intimate?
You know it.
That's the only reason you're fucking excited. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. That's the only reason you're excited.
Hey, they make good rides.
Get the fuck out of here.
I think they do too.
Come on.
What would you pick, Biff?
For what? If I could to put where Rip Ride Rocket was?
Yeah.
Hey, this is not Islands of Adventure, right? It's the Universal theme park.
The studios, yeah.
A Vekoma Flyer.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't seen one of those. At least a new gen one come to the state. Actually, there's only one, right? Still, there's only Fly.
But I think that's so dope. I think we should have one. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Kebab. He's been pounding the Vacoma drum for a long time, but Siren's Curse seems to be a hit. You know what I'm saying? Dragonflyer, for being a kiddie coaster, it's badass for real. For being a quote unquote family coaster. Like, it's legit. And I can't stand Kentucky Kingdom, but if this one they're putting in there is half as good as Dragonflyer, they're going to have a hit there. Vacoma's been knocking it out of the park. I think they should give it a whirl with some shit that they got overseas that people rave about. People rave about Fly. You know?
They do.
Like, they made some rough shit in the past, like T3 and Blue Hawk. And it wasn't that they started out rough. They just got rough because parks and places didn't know how to take care of them. But these new age ones seem to be doing pretty good.
It's probably the track style as well for those old Vacomas.
Yeah.
They learned.
They tried to be Giovanola too much, which was really being in. They tried to really kind of be Arrow a little bit too, because you could see a lot of all three of those manufacturers' influence in their tracks. Yeah, every manufacturer's got that distinctive track.
Mm-hmm. Which sometimes the old Intamin box track and the mock track now they confuse me for a minute, but
they look kind of similar. Yeah, I think they should do something like that, especially since it's a universal, you know.
Yeah.
Or I'm a big advocate for these. Put a surf coaster in there. I like a surf coaster. What about you, Don? Have you ridden Pipeline?
I have not. Heard a lot of good things about it.
Man, it's fun.
I have some friends that are big fans of it.
And I was kind of a stand-up guy when the stand-ups hit back in the 90s. It's kind of like Chang was my favorite for a long time, and I like stand-ups. And the dynamic on this one is just like, oh my God, wow. Like, you think you're going to go flying in the air, you go one way, the coaster goes the other, and you're off your feet. It's the craziest sensation ever.
Yeah, I do like the stand-ups too. I remember, when going back to King Cobra at King's Island.
King Cobra, yes sir.
Debuted. It's a different kind of an experience, and so I'm a fan of them.
Yep, they're fun. They were fun. They were very intense, especially Mantis at Cedar Point.
So was Chang, and I'll tell you this: a lot of people shit on Green Lantern once it got there, and we went and rode it the first time, but for me, it was the same exact ride. And I'd ridden it so many times, I knew where to go forward, where to go back, where to lean, when to brace myself. And it was a really good ride. And then we went back to last year, it was open, and I didn't ride it, but everybody else that did said it was awful.
That's the one that just recently got torn down, right?
Yeah.
It
was awful. Piece of my childhood died.
Yeah. That's how I'll feel if they ever were to tear down Maverick.
Well, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
I hope not. Don, I got to ask you a question. So what do you ever, you hear a lot of people that, I don't know, a lot of them probably joke about this, but some might be serious. What is your response to people that ever say RMC Beast?
No, I think that that's one of the stupidest things I see out there. Why would you do that? You only even think about it when you have problem coasters. Like you look at Hershey Park, what they did, with that ride, and it became, Wildcats Revenge. Made sense there.
Yeah.
But there's no reason in the world that you would need to even think about RMCing the Beast. I mean, you've got one of the best wooden roller coasters ever. Still runs great. There's no reason, to even think about doing that. And that's the kind of thing that's a little bit of a, every wooden coaster out there's always that group that they point to, and they're like, oh, RMC it. Even with like Blue Streak, people are like, oh, it's time has passed, RMC it. That's not the answer to everything.
No.
Sometimes it's as simple as bringing in the Gravity Group and letting them breathe new life into a wooden coaster.
Absolutely, they've been doing a pretty good job so far on the Beast.
They have, and other rides too that they've worked on. that's the thing you want to do is you want to look at somebody like the Gravity Group. There's a couple others that are out there doing some things with wooden coasters as they age and they get a little bit older. But the answer isn't RMCing everything.
And I don't think that the layout for the Beast would make for a really good RMC anyway.
No, it wouldn't. If it's ground floor up RMC, I'm good with those. But I don't think you need to keep taking every wooden coaster out there and turning it into an RMC.
And we need to have some wooden coasters. Sheesh. But yeah, I agree. I think they need to stay far, far away from Beast.
Yeah, there's no reason to do it.
No. So before we get into any questions, Biff, do you have anything else you wanted to bring up or anything?
Well, you mean with Don? Yeah, I was fixing to ask some questions.
Yeah, go for it.
So, Double J has been officially measured at the doctor at 47 3/4 inches. That was with his shoes off. So we're not saying he's going to be 48 when we go to the park next weekend, but we're thinking he's going to be 48. As a 48-incher who has not been to Kings Island since he rode Snoopy's soapbox, what order do you suggest that we put him on in the 48-inch range? What order of coasters should we go to get him? Okay. The biggest and fastest thing he's been on, I believe, is Invader at Busch Gardens, and he rode Mindbender at Six Flags Over Georgia. That one almost broke him. He didn't want to ride nothing else the rest of the day. But now he likes to ride everything. His number one is the Big Bad Wolf. So how would you suggest we put him in order at Kings Island on his first day at 48?
I would go Racer, Mystic Timbers, Beast, and then bring him over to Adventure Express. Adventure Express has got a couple of sharp turns in that. So I would get him a little bit that he would get exposed at a little bit more on a ride like Mystic Timbers. So I would go, Racer, get him on the Beast, get him on Mystic Timbers, get him over to Adventure Express.
Awesome.
Has he ridden Bat?
He has not ridden the Bat yet, and he's excited about that because he hasn't been at all this season. This weekend, well, it'll be next Sunday. It'll be the 5th, I think, is his last weekend for parks, and it's his first visit to Kings Island this year because we weren't going to go. I said I'm not going to go until I have to buy him a pass because they wouldn't honor his pre-K pass.
But
this year I had to buy him a pass. Well, it's for next year. But we figured since we got it for next year, we might as well use it this year. Take him to the park.
Now, has he ridden it in the past, though, right?
No, he hasn't ridden the Bat at all.
Okay.
Because last year was 48 inches, and when they dropped it to 42, I was like, man, he could have rode the Bat this year. We didn't think we was going.
I kind of thought maybe he'd been on it when you brought up the question because it was 42. But if he hadn't been on it, I would actually put that on there ahead of taking him on Mystic Timbers.
Okay. I think he'll love it because he loved the Big Bad Wolf at Busch Gardens.
Yeah, if he loved that, he'll love this one.
He liked that. He liked Invader. He loves Big Bear Mountain and Dragonflyer. Of course, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
He likes them bad. So I was just wondering because we're going to really, really try. We think he's very close to 48. So hopefully he's close enough to get on. And if not, we'll put him on the Bat and he'll get to ride Snoopy. And he hasn't ridden Woodstock, so he's kind of excited about that. He's expecting to be Dragonflyer, and I hate to break his feelings and tell him it's not.
No, but still fun.
Yeah. All right, Biff, did you have another one?
Oh, yeah, I do, actually. So we all know you're an ACE member, of course. We did hang out together for a bit at the ACE event in the spring at Busch Gardens and Kings Dominion. Are you going to the event on the 19th at Kings Island?
I am going to the event. Very much looking forward to it.
I
was a little, I wasn't expecting there to be a fall event at Kings Island. When that was announced, I was excited about it and, got my ticket and I'll be there.
So, since you're going to be there, this is not going to go by me unsaid. I have seen on the itinerary there is a racer challenge from 12 to 1 o'clock where we see who can ride the most non-consecutive racer rides. We all know to be the man, you got to beat the man. And that man is you. Are you planning to be in the Racer Challenge on the 19th?
I will give it a try. Why not?
Okay.
I
So,
can still. I knew like last year there was one day, I don't ride it like I used to. I mean, there were days I would ride it 50, 60, 70 times, and no problem. But there was one day I just wanted to see, okay, if I could still do that, like get off the ride, get right back in line, and just spend a lot of, the majority of my day doing that. And I ended up with 21 rides in like 7 hours. And, it was a busy enough day that it wasn't like get up in the station, walk right on. And the wait time's a little longer than it used to be because, you've got the individual lap bars, people bring their luggage and all those kind of things, slower dispatches. So it's the days of being able to get 7 or 8, in an hour are hard. You might get 4 or 5 on a good day. So to get 21, I was like, okay, I could still do this if I wanted to, and didn't feel anything, nothing the next morning or anything like that. It was like, okay, I could still come out here and marathon it. So when I saw that there would be the Racer Challenge thing, I thought, you know what? I'm going to throw my name in the ring and I'm going to give that a shot.
that's awesome. I challenge you to at least 2 rides with me. That means I get to ride with you at least twice.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you. At least twice. I'm going to see how many I go with you, but I do want to at least get 2 rides with you in the same car.
No problem.
But I am to be the man. You got to beat the man, y'all. Come on out and try to beat the man. Woo!
I can
Don
still
Helbig.
do it. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm getting older and stuff, but I can still do that like I could have in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I could spend all day on it. Wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I mean the Gravity Group has done wonders for racers, so it's amazing.
Man,
ride.
they do wonders for everybody, for real. Put them over for real because some of the coasters they build are great. Some is questionable, like fucking. I'm sorry, like Kentucky Flyer, questionable. That thing was really good when it first came out. Now it's oh man, but the good ones they do, Voyage, the work they've done on the Beast, the work they've done on the Racer, Oscar the Grouch's roller coaster. I mean, they made some good coasters.
Yeah. I just thank them because and the park really for doing that because I just remember during the Paramount years it was not very fun to ride.
And the people saying RMC, the Beast, you dummy, they've done more better work with the Gravity Group than whatever could be done to the RMC in it. I mean, you got to leave it alone, man.
Yeah, the Beast is running the best, and same with the Racer, the best that either has been since 1990.
Man, they even fixed Thunder Run. Like the first part of it is great. Now they need to do the second half of it.
Yeah.
And I don't like talking good about Kentucky Kingdom, man. I really don't.
The only thing I say with Beast is I wish they would relax on the trims a little bit in the straightaway.
If they did, it would rip apart after. You could probably get away with that if you did it short term, like when Ace had the spring conference and that you could get away with it, for 90 minutes. But if you were to run that day after day after day like that, I mean, there's a lot of weight on those trains, and if you're down and if you ever had the opportunity to walk down around that area and just see the forces on the track as it comes out of that run through the shed there and makes that right turn. I mean, it's hard, and it just would not hold up long term if you let it rip through there, day after day. Like I said, short term, occasionally, it can handle that, but not, 12 hours of cycles every single day.
Yeah. I wonder if that's something our Gravity Group could work out.
Probably. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, it's always been that way. And the thing about it too, everybody talks about trim brakes on the Beast. It's always had brakes in the same exact location since the day that it opened. I have the blueprints of the Beast, and it's just really in a canister off to my left here, where the blueprints show exactly where those brakes were going to go. At that time, they were skid brakes.
Yeah.
But there used to be even going through the shed, there were tires on the side. When you see early videos of it, there's those tires that would hit and it would spin, but that would slow it down, getting everything through there. So it's always had breaks in those spots. Sometimes it was a little bit longer going down the first drop or something, but the ride was designed to have those exact spots, and just the technology has changed over the years.
Gotcha. Yeah, it still has the one of the best elements of any coaster with the double helix. So
best finish in the business. Best finish in the business is like Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Hey,
All
Chris.
right. Yeah.
Hey, Chris. I hope Don don't get mad for me putting him at it like this, but Don's in the Bad Club, right?
In the what club?
The Bad Club.
The Bat
What
Club.
is that?
Don, you have a bat, correct?
Oh yeah.
The baseball bat, the coaster heat.
Oh yeah, I got the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, we sent him a bat. Chris has been trying to get bad, Don. So we joke with him whenever somebody comes around or comes on the show that is in the Bad Club. Hey, this guy's in the Bad Club. Chris wants a bat. He wants a bad bag.
I brought it up one time. I said, "How do people get bats?"
We just give him guff about it. He deserves one, though. He does a great job on this show. We're just a couple morons, and he holds us all together. But, when we was doing the old show, we was winging the bag. But he drops in stuff and makes cuts and makes us all sound pretty good, look pretty good. Man, he does a good job.
Thank you. That's the nicest thing you've ever said.
Don's on the show. I gotta be good and nice, man. I can't be. You know what I'm saying? He gets enough heel action with Ryan. Ryan's the biggest heel there is. I'm just teasing Ryan. I love you, bro.
Biff, we can't let an episode go by with Don without bringing up the whole. I did it for you, Don.
I did it for you, Don. We just we make fun of Sir Barons. He's not here to defend himself, but we tease him because he's a big Don fanboy. Like, he's got a lot of respect for you and what you've done for us, people like us that are just kind of fans that get out there and lead the way for other fans. You know what I'm saying? But he's got a lot of mad respect for you. So it's like every time we're in the park and he thinks he sees you, he's like, "Hey, is that Don over there?" So we used to go, "Is that Don? Is Don here? Oh, have you guys seen Don?" Like when Will Ferrell gets excited when they mention Santa Claus and Elf, that's how we act like. That's how we act like Paul acts anytime he invite me. "Did you guys hear there's a meetup next week? Oh, I'm going. I can't wait. I did it for you, Don." That's just good, lighthearted fun. That's all. I hope you don't get offended by it.
Oh no, not at all.
All right.
Every time we ride a train or a carousel, we always tease them. "Paul, who'd you do it for?" "We did it for you, Don." Just respect, though, man. Nothing but man respect.
Oh, no problem.
All right. Let's get into some questions so we can get through these. There's a couple here from our friend JP. His first one says, "Don, can you explain the thought process behind a park deciding how to handle guest feedback on issues when it comes to social media? For example, there are conversations had within the park organization if there's a public outcry for something that they don't like."
Well, every park's going to be a little bit different on how they handle some things. Some parks look at that as an opportunity to get better when they see the different things people are, commenting on that may be perceived as being negative or not highly positive. And, that they spend a lot of time, pulling those different reports and discussing, what's out there. And if there's a common theme, they'll look into it and try to find ways to make it better. And then there's others that, if you are negative on social media or something, instead of addressing it, they're not on the media list. That's just how some parks are. They get offended too easily by it. They don't look at it as an opportunity to get better. They want everything on a pedestal, and if it's not, they don't want to hear from you. So every park's a little bit different. Most parks take it serious, and do try to, evaluate what's happening. Why are people talking about this? Did that situation happen? And they go from there. And then there's others that it's just, let's just delete the comment. and write down their name, so they're not going to be coming to when we have a new ride announcement or something.
Right.
So you have a few parks that do it that way too.
And then the second part of his question is how much collaboration is ongoing between a regional park and their corporate overhead when it comes to a new attraction? Do regionals have a say, or are they more so told what's going to happen?
Well, they did have a say, during my years when I was at Kings Island as a regional park. We were able to, give our thoughts, and we would basically sit down with the general manager, and and we would look at guest surveys and kind of what are guests asking for, what do we need, those are the kind of things. It was more about, here's how much money you have to work with, what can we do with that money, that and a decision would be made that way. I think after, when you look at like the merger net, I think it's more now corporates deciding what the parks are going to have, and there's a lot less input into it than there would have been 2 or 3 years ago. So I think that's just the way it's trending. At least with Six Flags, they're not having as much on a park to park basis that they used to have. They can still say, I'd like to have this, like to have that. And some parks, just depending on the track record too, they might get their way on some things. And then other parks, it might just be, this is what you're getting, and that's just the way it is. And then other ones, it's a collaborative, very collaborative when you have, when it's not a big chain, and it's a little bit smaller. Everybody talks internally, and everybody kind of gets on the same page, and that's what they do.
That's how Holiday World seems like it is to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, everybody's on the same page. What can we do with this? And a lot of parks like to have fun with it too. The smaller you are, the more fun you can have with it. But the less opportunity you have for mistakes too. Because your budgets and that, aren't going to be, you're not going to have the,
motherfucker.
You're not going to have the deep pockets that some of the major chains are going to have. When you're looking at a Disney, a Universal, SeaWorld, they can afford mistakes. But other parks, they can't. So when you're like a Kennywood or Hershey Park, even though Hershey's got a lot of things behind it, you got to be careful about what you got to be right most of the time when you put something in.
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to say, it seems like Jeff Siewert has a lot of going down to his parks.
Yes, he does. And Jeff's one of the ones that I think, if he's fighting for something, they're going to listen to Jeff.
Yeah.
He's very passionate, and he's very knowledgeable. He knows what his parks need. He gets it. Yeah, he gets it. And he went, when he went to Fiesta, Texas, I mean, that park, was good, but he took it to a whole new level, and it was, I thought, one of the best run parks in the Six Flags chain. After he
I really enjoyed it on our visit. I really did. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, he's going to be good.
Surveillance did not be good, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was very well run, and I think now that he's overseeing Six Flags over Texas, I think we're going to see some really good things there.
But they got that new dive coaster. I think that's going to be awesome.
It will be.
Yeah, those inversions are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just talking about that the other day, Chris. Remember you talked about they needed to make something with big floaty inversions and not the whippy quick ones like on, inverts. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Big swooping inverts, man. And taking it at 87 mile an hour. Come on, bro.
I was saying, my conversation was I really, really, really enjoyed Steel Curtain, and I liked it better than any inverting B&M.
There you go. See?
We'll see.
I think it's going to be a hit. People are shitting on it, but people shit on everything. Like, they can't have nothing nice or nothing new. People just poo-poo on it, man. Do you agree with me on that, Don?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not something that you wanted, people are upset, and there's no reason to be upset about that one. I mean, that's going to be a fantastic ride. It's it's going to be one of the most talked about rides in the industry next year.
And there's already the people out there that are saying, "Oh, the drop is only 286. It's not a giga."
How can you argue the exact thing? You're arguing the exact opposite thing that these idiots argue about Orion. It's the exact opposite. So which side of the fence do you sit on? It's like my grandma used to tell me all the time. You cannot sit on both sides of the fence and then complain about having splinters in your ass.
Here's the thing I want to talk about with all these kind of things too. It's, you see things about like what should replace the Vortex. Everybody's like, well, I just hope it's a record breaker. You don't want a record breaker. You want a ride that's going to be good, that's going to deliver a really exciting, fun, thrilling experience. Look at all the records that Son of Beast set, and the ride wasn't any good.
Yeah.
It didn't work. So I would rather have, Mystic Timbers doesn't set any records, but it works. Yes, it's got broad appeal. It works for the park. It works for the guest.
Yeah.
So I think something like that. So to me, I don't get caught up in the enamored when they throw out all these records, because the records only, it's a marketing thing. It's something to throw out there during the construction.
Yeah, you could make up a record. You could be like, this is the world's fastest coaster that has 23 foot of straight track.
I don't get enamored or caught up in the records, any of those kind of numbers, because that's great. It's talking points when you're doing media tours and stuff during the winter. The media will write, and it'll be the headlines. New record breaking coaster going to
Hollow, man.
Yeah, but the minute that ride opens, those records no longer matter. It is what the ride experience is going to determine whether or not the guests come back and want to do that again and again and again.
Right.
And with a ride like Son of Beast, that didn't happen. So Mystic Timbers, it did happen. People loved it. They wanted to come back. It became one of their favorite rides. So I don't ever, it's nice to tout that stuff, but I would rather have something that was going to deliver a great ride experience. I'd rather have, a ride that's reliable, like Big Bear Mountain.
Yep.
That's a ride that, that would be something that people would dump on, if that was something that, say, went into the Vortex spot. But it would be a terrific ride. It would be reliable. Guests would love it. Broad appeal. So those are the kind of things that, for me, that matter more than just, it's a giga, drops 301 feet.
Yeah, and my example of this is you have Cedar Point throughout the early 2000s building these record breakers, and then out of nowhere they build Maverick, which broke no records, and it's one of the best coasters in that park.
It's a fantastic coaster, and that was something that I remember when they announced Maverick. Everyone was, where's the records? This is disappointing. Yeah. It's not the biggest. It's not the longest. It's not the fastest. This is Cedar Point. We need to do better. Then people wrote it, and they were like, oh, my gosh, that's pushing for the best ride in the park.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. But, yeah, I mean, I don't look at those records either. I just want a good ride, and that's all I care about.
Exactly. That's all that matters. That is, it delivers a great ride experience.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on for the next question is from the Thrill Dude. And he is saying, Don, what's the best change in the industry that you've seen, and what's the worst change?
That's a great question. Best and worst. I would say the best change that I've seen since I've been involved with the industry would be the growing focus on the immersive storytelling and the theming. So instead of there just being a ride, just being about that, the parks are creating, entire worlds where attractions, food, entertainment, even the queue lines and everything works together to tell a story. I think that's one of the things where to me, it's been one of the best changes. I love the story-driven attractions, something that, it makes the visits to a park more memorable, more emotional, not just thrilling, So I think to me, that's been the best change, is just seeing how parks have really gotten on board with the storytelling. Dollywood, being a prime example. You look at different rides they put in, lately Fire Chaser, Big Bear Mountain. When they redid the kids area, there's a backstory to Wildwood Grove, the new attraction that's going to be opening next year. Night Flight Expedition, has an immersive story to it. So those are the kind of Holiday World with good gravy. tells that story. You go through the queue, you're going through the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, all those kind of things before you even get on the ride. So that's the kind of stuff that, the theming and the storytelling that, it's caught my attention, and it just really enhances the overall experience. Now, the worst change, and I think there'll be a lot of your listeners that will probably agree with this, I think it's the steady rise of the upcharges. The different complex pricing models that are out there. You get your, paying for the fast lane, systems like that. I think those are the kind of things that have, kind of created, not the best vibe in the park. They make sense from a business perspective to do that. But I think what they do with all these upcharges, when you're nickel and diming all of your guests, they already pay a pretty good, penny to come in, even if they're pass holders, their passes for the most part. They paid pretty good money for that. But I think they chip away, at the sense of accessibility. It used to be pay one price and you got in, you got to do everything. Now you get in with your pass or you get in with your ticket. But if you want to do this, well, that's going to cost a little bit extra. You want to do that, that's going to cost you a little bit extra. I think those are some of the things that, kind of chip away at the magic of a day at the theme park, when you have to keep opening your wallet to do things.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Next question coming from probably not Craig.
It's probably not Craig.
He actually has two questions here. He says,
probably like Jeff or Greg or Steve, something.
Maybe. What is your favorite type of shirt that isn't Hawaiian?
Is there any other kind?
No,
T-shirts. I was always, growing up, sports teams. I had a lot of different, team logo T-shirts, and then a lot of theme park like Beast shirts. In the '80s, I had Beast, Vortex, Whitewater Canyon, King Cobra. All the shirts. So if I wasn't wearing the Hawaiian shirts, I'd be in T-shirts every day.
They had a Whitewater Canyon shirt. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Still have it. Doesn't fit, but I still have it.
So I got to ask you this. So we used to go to Kings Island when I was really little. So this would have been the very late '80s into the early '90s. Mm-hmm. They had a cup that you would get. It had all the ride logos on it. Yeah. And I wish that I could find somewhere that had those still, because I want one.
I'm sure I have one somewhere. I have so much stuff in just different boxes everywhere.
I miss that cup so much.
I need to go through it one day.
I just as a kid, I loved seeing all the logos on there, and that's what that's my first theme park memory. That and the Flying Dutchman that is now at Kentucky Kingdom.
Yep.
Second question was, what's your favorite non-blue flavored ice cream?
Favorite non-blueberry chocolate.
Yeah, same.
Mint chocolate chip.
Yeah. Ooh, there's so many good ice creams. It's hard to choose. All right. Question. Next one is coming from Double J.
Double J.
And it is, Don, are you team red or blue racer?
It really never mattered to me. A lot of times when I was there all the time riding, a lot of times I would go whatever side was going to be a little shorter.
Yeah.
And, so it never really made, sense, red or blue. There was a red and a blue on each side back in the day too. So in 2008, when it became red one side, blue the other side, I liked riding on the red side, better. And I'll tell you, I've ridden more on the blue side. So majority of my rides, not, the vast majority, but over, 65% have come on the blue side. And the red side, though, what I like about it is the turnaround, because you're turning around and you're facing the park now. You see the park, you see the tower. You're not turning away from the park. So that was always, especially at night, that was always the better side to be on with the tracer lights and that. You're coming back in and you would see rides throughout Coney Mall, all lit up and everything. That made that side more thrilling to me. So we'll go Team Red just because of that aspect of the night rides.
Ah, no. I thought you was going to do the diplomatic thing, give that old, I like both sides answer. And then you swerved me and you went Team Red. And we all know red sucks.
I love Red Racer. I got to ask, Don, what year did they repaint? Oh my gosh, the ride is blanking. I just had it. The Troika model.
Shake, rattle, and roll?
Shake, rattle, and roll. It went from green to red, right?
It did.
Yes.
That was around, 2018, 2019 range?
Okay. I saw a picture of it green. I was like, it was green? I never remembered that. Wow. All right. I think there's some more questions here. They're kind of all over the place here.
Man, I can't believe Don went Team Red on me, man. Oh, man, I'm crushed.
Let it go.
All right, here we go. This is from Steven. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I'm sorry. But Steven says, Don, what do you have against RMC?
I don't know why there would even be that question. I don't have anything against RMC.
Well, there's that.
There you go. See you people out there on the internet just making shit up about people?
The only thing I'll say to that is just what we talked about earlier is I just don't think every single wooden coaster needs to be converted to an RMC. RMC has its place. I like the stand, ground floor up ones. I think there's a lot of really good ones out there. So I have nothing against RMC.
That, and I have to say something for everyone that keeps saying that they should RMC American Eagle at Great America. Please don't. Please don't. It looks like a fun wooden coaster, and it's one of the last intimate wooden coasters there is. So just leave it alone.
Just call Gravy Group. Just call Gravy Group.
Yeah. All right. Scott from South Carolina.
Sky, shout out to Sky. Wow, long time listener right there.
Yeah. Don, have you ever been to any parks outside of the U.S.? If so, which ones, and what would be your top 3 if you'd like to go? And what would be your number 1 bucket list park here in the U.S. that you haven't been to?
You should have broke that up in like 3 questions, man.
Well, outside of the U.S., I've been to parks in Canada. The Ronde, Canada's Wonderland. Of the 2, Canada's Wonderland. One I'd like to get to would be, there's a lot of Europa.
Yeah.
I think that would be the one that I would want to in the United States that I haven't been to. I think I've pretty much have hit every one that I really felt, I had to hit or really wanted to hit. Trying to think here, what would that be? I'm just going to go back outside of the country and I'll just say Disneyland Paris. I think in the States, anything that's in the States that I've wanted to hit over the years, I've done.
Yeah. I really want to go to Japan. I think that would be fun. All right, next question. I think this is the last question, from what I can see, is from Roller Coaster Encyclopedia.
Oh, nice. I see it.
He's asking, what coaster model do you think would be coming to Kings Island next?
I have no insider knowledge on this. I would say Vekoma, and the reason I say that is because there's been success with Vekoma lately. They've worked with them on a couple of different things lately. Siren's Curse, being one. The reliability is there. This isn't your father's Vekoma. I mean, they've come a long way. They do some really cool things right now. So I would say my guess would be, knowing that they would be looking for something that would be reliable, and that they have a good relationship with and all of that. So I'm going to go Vekoma.
Now, what is there? Would that be the same answer if somebody was to ask you what you would choose to add?
Yeah, I would go with Vekoma.
Yeah.
I like what they've done in recent years.
Yeah. Same here. Now, if
So
they could only.
what model and where would you put it?
A lot of different places you could put it. I would think that everyone talks about, you need a front gate kind of coaster. You'd have to get rid of a couple things there to do that. I think you could put that in the vortex spot. I think you could. Vekoma could do some pretty cool things with that space.
That'd be a cool place for a tilt.
That would work.
It's your point, do the tilt. You don't want to do one in Kings Island. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point. It's your point. Put it there. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put it that close.
I think the one thing you'd have to have, though, and what Kings Island would look to do, you look at the demographic, what it's always been since 1972. It's always been about families first. Majority of the pass holders, families. So something that had broad appeal. I don't know that you would want to put something in and you had to be 54 inches tall to ride it. I think that would not be a fit for them. They have that situation with Orion, where it's not, 48 inches and everybody can ride, so there's a lot of people that get left on the sideline with rides like that. So I think it'd be something that would have more of a broad appeal. You can do some stuff like that with Vekoma.
Yeah. I think the park eventually needs something that is LSM launched.
They do. I agree with you. And I think that day will come.
Yeah. Well, I think we have hit all of the questions here. What's that, Biff?
Man, I was going to say something and I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm just kind of scrolling through here to see if I forgot anything. Let me check one other thing here. So, Don, do you think the Reds still in the hunt for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, behind the Mets.
Yeah, as of this recording, they go into the final game of the season with the tiebreaker against the Mets. So either the Mets lose, the Reds are in, regardless of what the Reds do.
They're playing each other?
Or the Reds. No, they're not playing each other.
Oh,
but,
okay.
If the Mets lose, the Reds will get, no matter what the Reds do, the Reds get into the playoffs. If the Reds win, doesn't matter what the Mets do, the Reds get into the playoffs. So the Reds control their own destiny, and sometimes with the Reds, that's the worst thing that can happen is they control their own destiny like that. So I had this vision that the Mets won and the Reds had runners in scoring position to get the tying and go ahead run. Matt McLean's at the plate, and he takes strike three right down the middle to end the game. And so just the way the season's gone, and the way his season is gone, something like. But there's just some magic that's happened the last couple of weeks. They're getting balls that, they're hitting the, looks like a double play and it hits a base and rolls out in the outfield, and so there's just been all kinds of things that, the kind of things that okay, the team's destined. There's something magical happening with this, and if they get in, I think they've got the pitching that. They can go the distance.
Yeah, it's that time
no one
of year.
No one will want to play the Cincinnati Reds in the playoffs. Nobody.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how you start. It really matters how you finish.
Right. Yeah, but nobody's going to want to go into a playoff series against the Reds knowing that they're going to have Hunter Green, they're going to have Nick Lodolo, and they're going to have Andrew Abbott in the first 3 games. And past those guys, you got Brady Singer still there. You've got really good bullpen. You got some young guys that have come on. Nobody, is going to want to play the Reds.
You know how to sell it. I'll tell you that. You know how to sell
it.
Yeah. So I had another question. I was sitting here thinking, and I see I'm sitting here scrolling on social media, and people are all over in Vertigo not being open for half the year now, or a little bit.
Yeah.
So everybody keeps saying that's on its way out, and should they bring something in from a closing park like Six Flags, the California Park or New England?
No. If you don't want to see the rides getting relocated, I don't think there's much there that would be worth bringing to Kings Island. I don't think Vertigo's given its last rides. I really don't. Yeah. I think that they would have just let it sit if there wasn't anything done with it. They've there had been a little bit of work on it. You could see, in August, week to week, some things have been moved around, and that not the kind of things that you would see if a ride was on its way out. They would have just let it sit there.
Right.
And I know they tried to get it going. The maintenance team there, if they can find a way to get a ride running, they do. Whitewater Canyon looked like it was down for the rest of the year. They found a way to fix what was wrong with it. They got it up the last couple of weeks in August. Other parks, there's a number of parks out there that wouldn't have been the case. They would have just said, let's just say when the labor not run it. So they've worked really hard to have as much uptime as they can.
Yeah.
I know the park manager there, he, Kings Island was like his first job, back in the mid 80s working on the train. He loves the park. I don't think he's somebody that let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that. I think he's more of a let's find a way to make it work, kind of a guy. So I'm glad that he's in that position because I think that he'll fight to keep whatever he can. So I don't see.
You don't think the word that actually comes from above him?
I think he would. I know one of the things that's important is that they want to see what the ride uptime is on things. That factors in, and if they can't keep the ride going, outside of some situation like you're waiting on a part or something, but if it's like an everyday thing like Firehawk was, then you look to move on from that. But I don't think Invertigo's given its last rides. I don't think the Monster has either. Do I think Kings Island will lose a ride in the next year or two? Yes. I think they'll lose probably 2. But I don't think it'll be Invertigo, and I don't think it'll be the Monster.
That's my fear is the day when it comes down that the axe comes for the bat, and I hope it's not anytime soon.
Oh man, no, don't say that.
No, I know that was one of the ones that was on the chopping block, and they fought really hard to keep that. So and it's had a good year. I mean, it's been reliable. Guests like it. So I don't see that one going either.
Yeah, I think it was after the year where they had like the partial derailment or whatever happened with it, and I was like, oh man, this is not going to be good for it.
They lowered the height on it. That made a big difference. It's got a crowd now, whereas before the weight was the walk. Now it actually starts to get a crowd. It's really good. It reminds me of the old days when it was Top Gun.
Yeah, now this could be one of those things. This episode drops, and a couple of days later, Invertigo is being retired. Who knows? Yeah. But I'm optimistic. To me, when you look at things like that, being optimistic is the way I try to go because it costs the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would be sad. Even though I don't ride Invertigo anymore, it's still like one of those coasters that I love to watch, and it takes me back to like my early days of going to Kings Island, like starting to be able to go on my own without having a parent have to take me and stuff. So
right.
So anytime something's removed, it kind of is a sad feeling. I was really sad when Vortex was removed because that was my first ever inversions as a kid. So
me too. No,
but yeah,
no. Did King Cobra come first?
King Cobra came first, yes.
Yeah, so that was my first looping, and then I did ride Vortex when it opened that year, though.
Yeah. I was opposite. For some reason, I was like, I cannot ride standing up. I was like, that's just not right. And then it took me a little while, but I would ride Vortex like was no other.
I never rode Screaming Demon. I never rode it.
No, that was before my time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 10. I want to thank Don for coming on and hanging out with a bunch of knuckleheads here.
It's been fun, so I appreciate talking with you guys, and we'll see you at the ACE event. We'll catch a couple rides on the racer for sure.
Absolutely. I'm excited about that.
All right,
guys. Well, we will see you on the next episode.
And if you lose your way, just remember, we'll leave the lamp on for you.
Yes, we will.
All right. Thanks, guys.
And with that, you are all clear and out of here. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the ERT Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and also check us out on our X account. This episode has been brought to you by Burger Boy, open 24/7. located at 1450 South Brook Street in Louisville.